We are here every Monday at about this time. My name is Alfonso. Welcoming you to this edition of the program. I'm right here in Louisiana, Montserrat County, while the president is away from the country. But we are bringing you the president, of course, through the magic of technology. So be wherever you are. And again, let me say welcome. I'm taking a short break. When I come back, I will talk to Dr. Lady Maparyan, president of the University of Liberia. Welcome back and thank you for joining us. Of course, this is the platform, that brings the University of Liberia close to you. So whatever concern you have, and you want answers, just be a part of your president, the president of the university. Dr. Mapai, let me say welcome to your program.
Thank you. So glad to be here again.
I need to get this stuff through the board. Sorry, I need to get this through the board. Can you get me now?
Oh, I get you. I'm hearing you fine.
So let me see what's going on here. I need to get this through the board. Um, okay. So how are you doing today?
Doing very well. How are you?
I'm okay. I said that you've been away a little while.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
how are you doing?
I'm doing well. I mean, I'll be happy when I come back to Liberia, but I'm making good use of my time here, and things are going well.
Okay, so making good use of your time, meaning that the university is also going to benefit from that very good news. I mean, use.
Well, I hope so. I just came from the Liberian Studies Association annual conference, which was one of the main reasons that I made this trip to start with. I had the opportunity to hear from many, many very fine scholars from Liberia, from the United States, from other countries, making presentations about their research related to Liberia. And it was very refreshing and inspiring. And I had the opportunity to make a keynote address about the University of Liberia as the concluding keynote address on the final night of the program. And it was really wonderful.
What did you speak about?
Well, I talked about choosing a future for the University of Liberia and how we really have three options in front of us and how we need to decide decisively within the next 5 years which one we're going to be on. We have the road to oblivion, the road to greatness, and the road to mediocrity. And we have to choose which of those three we're going to be on. Of course, my choice is greatness, but, it relies on all of us working together.
The road to greatness, I guess, is rocky.
Well, life itself is rocky. And if you don't know how to get around rocks, you're going to have a hard time in life. So the trick is, figuring how to scale the rocks.
Mm. So, what could be some of the things to do so that we remove some of these huge rocks from the road so that we get to greatness?
Well, as I've said many times up to now, the most important thing we can do right now is kick off our very ambitious strategic plan so that we can carry that plan all over the world and get partners and investors, as well as people locally, to help us move on those agenda items. So I'm, hopeful that that's something that is very near. But at the same time, we've really already started doing many of the things that are there. And I think we're generating a lot of goodwill and interest. I've had a number of conversations on this trip about ways that we can advance our objectives and some ways to build relationships. And so, yeah, I'm feeling good about it.
Mm. And you can clearly see that there are very good prospects, that very soon we'll start to achieve some of these.
Yes, I think we already are achieving some of them. It's just, as they say, quiet as it's kept, that famous phrase. But, I think that when I come back, we're going to start seeing more announcements and more, really news stories about the good things that are happening.
Very well. That's wonderful to hear. Were we able to place some more iron in the fire outside of Liberia for the University of Liberia?
Well, we're always doing that.
Yeah, I know. So, anything new to talk about besides going to the All Liberian Study Conference and giving a keynote address? Anything new that we did say last week, even up to early today or so?
Well, that was really the highlight of last week. So that's the main topic of work from last week.
Okay. I know you will be coming anytime soon, but before you come, can you say that there were some arrangement, or maybe you're looking at some kind of either group or university or some institution, to make our case there as well?
Well, as mentioned before, I'm meeting with the trustees of donations for education in Liberia before I come back. So that's another highlight. I'm having some other conversations that I really can't say much more about right now, but I think you're going to see some acceleration in Liberia when I return.
Very well. So, talking about the road to greatness, I don't know whether you would like us to talk about this, but I want to rush there because I got this good news that, prior to your coming, there were a lot of liabilities. The university was indebted to a lot of vendors. But I
Mhm.
got this information over the weekend that you have almost finished paying everybody, except for one, maybe.
Well, I'm glad that that news reached you, and I really like to credit Dr. Lester Tenney, who has very ably managed our funds for the University of Liberia since coming into his role as the interim vice president for finance and fiscal affairs. He has good fiscal discipline and has really helped. He shares my commitment to paying off debts that we have. Now, I'm never going to say we've completed it, because one thing I've learned about being here is that whenever you think you've completed it, somebody comes out of the woodwork with something. But nevertheless, I can say we've done an amazing job of plowing through a huge hill of debts and arrears that we needed to clear. We've done an amazing job, actually.
Mm. I'd like you to speak more to this thing because like I said, is something to talk about. You want to tell us in numbers, the total liabilities that you settle?
Well, I don't have the exact figure in front of me because I didn't know we were going to be talking about this, but I do know that when I arrived, we had something like $5 million of liabilities to different entities. And I know that we have systematically cleared a lot of them. What I like to say, people have a lot of ideas about UL's money. Sometimes the view is that we have so much money that anything's possible and anyone can get whatever they need from that. Other people think, oh, there's no money. We can't do anything because there's absolutely no money. The truth
Mm.
is somewhere in between. And really, it boils a lot down to how money is managed. I always say there's plenty of wealth in this world. It's just a matter of getting access to it and how you use it. The wealth that we have as the University of Liberia is money that we are, entrusted with, money that we have to steward. And we're responsible to manage it in a way that is both ethical and efficient. So I think that we've done a lot of that by returning to old bills and paying them off, as well as the people. But at the same time, we're still managing some things. I mean, the resources aren't exactly where we'd like them yet. Just today I was having conversations with some students from the 105th graduating class that are still awaiting some of the funds to do the projects and activities that they planned. It's a little harder for me to manage it when I'm here, but definitely, it's coming. Things are always in motion. But the reality is that the approach we have is good customer service. The idea is that people should get what they need in a timely fashion, and that even with our resource constraints, we have to do our best to make that happen. So that's what we're really working on, and we're getting successes as the news reach you. There are successes. I mean, there are still some ways to go, but some great successes have also taken place.
Yeah, resource, constraint or say a limited budget. Somebody listening to you want to know how did you perform the magic? In the midst of limited budget, where did you get the extra money from to settle this huge liability?
Well, I say a lot of it has to do with management. When you take a hard look at your money, and first of all, you make sure that you get all the money that you should get. And then once you've done that, you make sure that it goes where it needs to go without a lot of things happening along the edges, and it gets where it needs to go. I mean, it's very basic.
Very well. So we'll be crisscrossing the issues. Let's talk about we haven't spoken for a while now about our faculty outside of Liberia. I know the last time I talked to you, you said to me that some were already finished and ready to come back. You want to give us more detail?
It's still an ongoing process. I think that one of the biggest arrears that we paid at the end of last year was the many study leave faculty who had outstanding payments. We paid them, but the ones who are still away, we still have to pay their expenses. And we are actually waiting on some changes in our personnel situation to fully bring all of the returned study leave faculty into their rightful places and into their rightful salaries. I had hoped that we would be able to do that right away in January, but we weren't able to. But I think that when I come back, you're going to see some faster movement.
Okay. So talk to me about the few that came in before you left. What is their status now? Maybe you can start from say last year up to this point.
In 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a mixed situation. Some people have been put in their rightful positions and others have not.
What's responsible for that?
Budgetary things primarily, and it's also true, having a really clear database of who's where has been slow in coming at times. So that has slowed us down. I often get emails or text messages from individuals saying, I haven't been restored. Then I do that, do something for that person. But then someone else says, well, what about me? And so not having everything in one place at one time has tended to slow things down.
And I guess that's causing the university some level of constraints.
It's not really a cause of constraints. I mean, it's the fact that we aren't as digitized as we need to be. Every time you do stuff on pencil and paper, it takes longer. It's harder to pull it together. You can't analyze the data easily. So, we're in that, we're still in that kind of a situation. But suffice it to say, we're making movement. The people themselves admit that we're making movement. And, we still have a ways to go, but we've made a lot of progress.
Dr. Mapan, talk to me. Any risks associated with having to train your faculty, and because of financial constraints, you can't accommodate them? I mean, it takes some time to do that. You think they're going to stay around?
Well, we know for a fact that sometimes they don't. I mean, we've had some people who have gone to other jobs, but we also know that the academic job climate in Liberia is such that the options aren't that great at other institutions as well. It's not easy to get an academic job in Liberia, but some, unfortunately, choose to overstay in the locations where they go to study. That's the more concerning situation. At times, we bring some of those individuals back, which, is a controversial decision. But to me, the bottom line is this: we've got to have the best faculty we can have. We've got to have the best trained faculty we can have. We have to offer our students the best education, the one that they deserve and need to function in today's world. And if we don't do this, we won't get there. We must have our faculty continue with professional development. We must continue to fully utilize those who's come back. And I should say this with a qualification: those who come back with their degrees. We've had a few instances of people coming back where they didn't complete their program and wanting to be reinstated as faculty members. And I'm opposed to that, because I think that if we send you out and you can't complete your program, then that means that you haven't achieved the level that the university needs.
This thing about people going out to study and don't want to come by, doesn't the university have a rating policy that obligates them to the university? I mean, at all costs, you must come back to serve.
Well, it does on paper, but it's not always that simple. I can give an example of one person who was away on study leave who wanted to come back, but was prohibited due to the political climate at the time. So he wasn't able to come back even though he wanted to. So, there are always things that happen. For me, my number one goal is have the best faculty as possible at the University of Liberia. And basically whatever I need to do that is what I'm trying to do, because it's not just about somebody getting a degree and coming back and saying, okay, now I have a master's degree, give me a higher salary and better job. It's about going out and making sure that you're getting an education that you can come back and will come back to transmit to our students to improve national development in Liberia. That's really the point of study leave. Yes, there's the benefit of a promotion and a raise, but that's not the real reason for study leave. The real reason for study leave is to improve the quality of the curriculum at the university.
So I was in conversation with somebody over the weekend, and the person was telling me the new arrangement, allows people to get money according to the academic, qualification. So if you are, whether you have a PhD, you have a master's degree, once you, from the professor level, you're now into certain category. You just wouldn't, whether you are a chairperson, you are 18, you just wouldn't get the money that a professor, at a, assistant professor, associate professor is supposed to get. Uh, is that the case?
It's a very complicated system in some respects. People who come back with doctorates are going to assume the level of assistant professor if they have a new doctorate. All right.
Okay.
And then over time, they can move through the ranks based on their accomplishment if they pass promotion and tenure guidelines. All right. People who come back with master's degrees will still be instructors under the current system. They won't proceed to be assistant professors unless they've gotten PhDs, because the whole point of the tenure track system is for PhDs to move through it. If you're an instructor at the master's level, the hope is that, for many of them, that they will go get the PhD and come back and join the tenure track faculty. But right now, UL is majority instructors. It's not majority associate, assistant associate, or full professors, but it should be. It should be. So everything we do with regard to study leave needs to move us in that direction.
Okay. So at some point in time, you place a halt to those wanting to leave, right? To go for study. And that was because you want to revamp that entire arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go back, you want to go back there to tell us the status of it?
Yeah, I still want to do it. I haven't done it yet, but I need to put a committee together, a faculty and academic affairs committee, probably with some involvement from human relations. We are in the process. I'm working with human resources to actively address the issue of job titles, job qualifications, pay scales. I think that the UL Staff Association submitted a salary disparity study to the administration before I arrived. After I arrived, they gave a copy of it to me. It's been an ongoing issue. Now that we have a new human resources associate vice president, I've asked him to take the issue up. So he's in the process right now of going through the salary system, and it is a little chaotic, and aligning salaries with qualifications.
What's chaotic about it?
People with the same job title often have very different salaries.
Okay.
There isn't a direct relationship between the nature of the job, the qualifications required for the job, the education required for the job or that the employee has, and the actual pay that they get. There's not a direct relationship. It should be a more orderly system and a more transparent system. So we're working on developing that. We want to answer
and I guess,
also put forward.
And I guess the reason for doing this is to kind of balance the salary. So in an event where, for example, an academic director in this office and another academic director in another office, they both don't make the same amount. Already we talk about budget constraints. So when this exercise is complete, right, or is over with, just give me a picture of what you want to do at a point. You want to say, for example, academic director one. In other words, in this office, and the one in the other office. So one of them, the first one is making more money, I mean, so to speak, than the second. Are you going to balance this salary to equal with the first one's money? So where are we going to get that money from?
Well, that's not necessarily the approach that we're going to take. So once we decide what the appropriate salary is for a job, someone who's in that job will either have to decide to take the lower salary or get a different job that has the salary that they want to have. I mean, we're not going to adjust all the salaries upward just because someone in that category has the higher salary. We're going to say, this job has this salary range. If you're going to stay in this job, this is salary range you're going to have. And that range will be based on your experience in the position, whether you're early in the position, you've been there for a mid-range period, or you've been there a long time, very senior in the position. It's also going to be based on the educational requirements that are appropriate for that job and whether you have them. It's also going to be based on the qualifications that the person brings in terms of experience. And so those kinds of things will influence the salary range for a particular type of position. So if you're in that position and you're within range, then fine, you keep your salary. If you're out of range, then you will have to do something different, because we're not just going to take the highest person in a job and let the salary remain that way, because that doesn't make sense. It's not good for the institution.
Sorry that I have to keep bringing you back. So let's assume John is executive assistant to VBX, and he has a master. Peter is another executive assistant to VBY. He equally has a master, but John makes more money than Peter. How do we reconcile the two?
Well, independent of John and Peter, without looking at any specific individuals, we look at the job and we say, in the Liberian labor market, what is the appropriate salary for this job? And once we've figured that out, independent of any specific individuals, we look at John and Peter and we say, John, where do you fall in the range? Are you within range for your qualifications and other attributes, or are you out of range? If you're within range, great, you're good to go. If you're out of range, then we're either going to give you the choice of getting within range or doing something else. I mean, that is how it's going to be, because we can't keep using the highest paid person as an anchor for how much we pay positions, because people have been given salaries based on a variety of factors, some of which have nothing to do with the job. And we can't run an institution like that because it's highly inefficient and ineffective and not particularly ethical. So we are going to move in the direction of regularizing it and then figure out what to do about the personnel as we do that process.
Wonderful. So still on this faculty thing, there used to be an arrangement in place where if you left to go to study, I think it was 50% of your salary that was being remitted to you. And yeah, and I think I could be wrong, but my understanding is that that is no longer in place.
That's
Am I correct?
It's for people who have study leave contracts, it's still in place. For people who do not have study leave contracts, they don't get that. You have to have a contract to get that. Some people have gone away for study without a formal contract, and those people do not get 50% of their salary.
Okay. So, all right, we talked about that before, where if for example, I was lucky to get a scholarship without the university's involvement. What I'm going to benefit from is study leave. The university is going to allow me to go for study. When I come back, that space is still hanging in there, or say I could be lucky to come by on board.
The people for whom that has been the case, with whom I've had conversations, I've said, you're free to go and you're free to come back, but we're just not going to pay you because you're choosing to go without a contract. In that case, if they're doing something that we need and they come back, then we're good. But if they're not competitive when they come back, then they will be at risk.
Well, all right. So call us on 0777-277-288, 0777-277-288 in case you are monitoring either online or via radio. You want to be a part of your president, the president of the University of Liberia, Professor Dr. Lady Maparyan is live on the line. Whatever concern you have, you can call us on 0777-277-288, 0777-277-288 to be a part of our discussion. Let's go to the line. This caller. Hello. Hello. How you doing? This person's off the line. Call us on 0777 277 288 0777 277 288 and ask the president whatever question, regarding the University of Liberia. So sometimes back, like you said earlier, the faculty, not the faculty association, staff association have some issues, and they brought them before you, and part of that was this salary disparity thing. Hello, how are you? Your name and where you call from? You want to get to the live video? Just look for University of Liberia Lux FM on Facebook. Of course, you're going to get us. So So yeah, so I'm calling the number nine. So just call. I mean, you already online. Raise an issue. The president will address it. Oh, but I'm getting you. So I don't know why are you monitoring the program through radio or what? So, but I'm getting you. So I don't know why you're not getting me. Yeah, I'm getting you clearly. Sorry, let me get the name right. Joy F. Praise. Yeah. Hmm. Which department? What department you in? Math. Okay, math department. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. What you say? You got problem with session? Which session is that? Mm, yeah. Mm. So, in other words, you have limited sections. Okay, that's the first one. Uh huh. Mm. All right, restrooms shut down at AB building, right? Sorry, I'm not laughing at you, but maybe that was just another session. Mm. Mhm. But the very Saturday you're talking about, the POD people pumped water in out of the buildings. How come you telling me there was no water available on Saturday? What time of the day? What time of the day? Okay, so about for the 8 o'clock, 8 to like maybe 10, 11 o'clock, I would not account for that. But yeah, from 11 upwards, the people pump water in the bay. Anyway, thank you for your concerns. The president will address them. Uh-huh. Me campus, I mean say capital here because all the campuses are me, right? Capital campus. Yeah, man, that place get plenty means of getting to campus. So you got keke, you got motorbike, you got car. Eh, yeah. Okay, John. Thank you. Thank you. Call us on 077 277 288 077 277 288. I don't know, Madam President, so whether you were getting her. Did you get her points?
I couldn't hear a single word she said, so I'm going to rely on you to tell me what she said.
Okay, I took down her concerns. Let's go back to the line. Just call her. Hello. Yes. Speak a bit louder.
It's not coming through for me. It's completely no sound.
Okay. Yeah, I will relay. I will relay. So let me see whether I can put in a low volume to see whether you can get them. Hello. Okay, Manuel Tio, can you get Madam President? Are you getting him?
No, I'm not getting anything.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Tio. I'll relay. Yeah, be brief, please. So wait, Tio. Courses online. I taught in your department. Is it not optional? Chemistry what? 409, 412, 409 physical chemistry, 412 lab. They're being taught online. How you know? I mean, particularly the physical chemistry, what the lab. I think you could be right because you are supposed to go to the lab to demonstrate. But I mean, the one you talk about, the 409, why you say it's not supposed to be taught online? Okay, okay. You say the instructor is in where? Where is the instructor? In country or out of Liberia? But have you approached the department chairperson with the issue? What are they saying to you? So, all right. Thank you, Tio. I will relay your concern to the president. All right. So there's somebody attempted to come. Well, I mean, we're just going to take all of the calls, Madam President, and I will relay their concerns. So call us on 0777277 288. Let's go back to this person. Hello, hello, hello. I'm good. How are you? Gordel. Where your name? Where you calling from? John Wa Sharif. Hmm. What's your concern? Yeah, you're alive. Go ahead. Junior student doesn't have an ID card. All right, John. Thank you. Any other concern? All right. So we can take one more and then go back to Madam President to address them. 0777277 is the number to call and be a part of it right here. On your president are the president of the University of Liberia. Hello. 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 I think you have to. Oh, too bad. Call us on 077-277-288, and talk to Dr. Lady Maparyan, President of the University of Liberia. So I want to take this person who's attempting to come. I don't know whether you got network issues, so when I go to the president, you have to wait. Oh. So call us on 077-277-288 and be a part of your president. Madam President, let me come to you with, yeah. Okay, so let me take this call first. Hello? Hello? Yeah? What's your name and where you call from? Okay, a veteran, welcome. You had a veteran community, my man. Wow, my man, in school, no direction, and then you leave a school, you can stay no direction. So quickly, what's your concern? Briefly. Yeah, yeah. So the president will talk to that one, but let me just say to you that the graduate program that at different school, right? So when you come from undergrad to go to graduate program, you have to take entrance. This is at different level. What's the next one? Okay, you haven't got your degree yet? All right. Thank you. Okay, veteran, I hope that you get direction soon. All right. Okay, so uh let me go to Madam President to address some of these concerns. So the first caller talked about the math department with limited sections. She has some concern regarding the restroom. Couple of days they came to campus and the restrooms were closed on grounds that there was no water. In fact, AB building, according to her, is completely shut down. And the restroom is not working. They close it because there's no water. So everybody is now going to the back of the building there to do whatever they can do there.
Okay, I just received the word as well that the water is off, and I just got that news today that there's some bathrooms that are offline because of the water being shut down. So Because I've been in meetings all morning, I haven't been able to reach out to Vice President Jalla about it to see what's really happening. But normally, when I tell him there's a problem, he fixes it within a short time. So I have high hopes that when I ask him, we will find a solution. But water problems are ongoing, and until we have our electricity, it's not going to be perfect. We've really got to get this electricity show on the road.
Okay. So limited sections in the math department. Some of the sections, in fact, they take 75 per student.
Hmm.
So I mean, nothing more. So
Well,
they've got a lot of them who have got conflict with sexual. So I mean,
I'm
sexual.
curious if she's talking about lower level or upper level sections, because I know that in the math department they have had a hard time putting out some of the upper level sections because not all of the math teachers are able to teach the most advanced math classes. And so I can check in with the chair of the math department and find out. But this particular student, did she mention whether it was upper level or lower level sections that she was concerned about?
She said all of the sections. So I mean, it could be that all of the courses.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we have more students than we can reasonably put into courses in a pedagogically sound number. We struggle to have enough instructors, and our lack of digitization makes us inefficient in terms of solving it. I've said it time and again. So, it's a work in progress. I'm always in conversation with the vice president for academic affairs in her office about it. It's slow going, getting it resolved, but we're working on it.
All right. She also talked about transportation. I mean, she's pleading for transportation or see the availability of transportation for students at the capital campus. The focus should not only be on the Fenner campus.
Okay, well, point noted. I agree with her.
All right. And there's also a concern coming in from the Department of Chemistry that there are two courses being taught online, and the student is concerned that those courses, in fact, one of them has a lab attached, but the instructor is not in country, and the other one, 412, is completely a lab course. He's equally, teaching it online. According to him, they've discussed it with the department chairperson, the dean of the college, and they're telling them that the person is the only one who teaches those courses.
Mm. Yeah, that's concerning to me because we don't really have a well-defined remote teaching policy at the university for a variety of reasons. I asked Vice President Wilkins, our Chief Information Officer, to develop a policy. Right now, that was one of my charges to him for the first quarter of this year, and he just gave me a new packet of policies in the last few days I haven't read yet because I was at a conference. But we need to have a clear remote working policy. There's so many reasons and conditions that have to be met before it can really work. One of the reasons is that faculty have to commit to a location and stick to that location. Some faculty take it upon themselves to teach remotely without having express permission to do that. The other thing is students don't necessarily all have equal access to data. Some students can't afford data. Some students don't have the kind of devices that allow them to go online. So it might disadvantage certain students if people go online without us having a clear policy about how we're going to deal with that. I heard you ask that person whether they had taken their concerns to the department chair. I guess you mentioned that they had also spoken to the dean. But once
Yeah.
we have a clear policy, it'll be easier to sort that stuff out. I personally believe there should be some opportunities for remote teaching, but I don't think they should just be at the discretion of the instructor. I think we need to have a systematic approach to remote instruction. It actually would relieve some of our classroom space issues if we had some remote instruction, but we also have to really be careful about those equity issues in terms of which of our students can access it.
A junior student is concerned about ID card. He doesn't have ID card.
Yeah, as I said last week, we're procuring the materials for ID cards. We're expecting to have students all be able to get it within this year. So, it's coming.
And the last but not the least, somebody, somebody just graduated. They've done graduation. They want to go to grad school, but then they have to do entrance. He wants you to speak to that. And also, there's a bit of delay in the issuance of degree.
Okay. I assume by delay in issuance of the degree, they mean delay in receiving the diploma because they would have already received their degree per se when they graduated in February. However, um, with regard to the entrance, I've taken a firm stand on this, and it's just that some people don't like it. The requirements or the types of skills and levels of qualification that are required for graduate school are qualitatively different than what's required for undergraduate school, just like the requirements of what's required for high school are similar to that, dissimilar from that of university. You need to be tested at every level, and I'm also going to say something that I know is controversial, but I want my students to hear it. A lot of our students graduate with a level of English or math proficiency that's not what would globally be expected of university graduates. And it's not really a good idea to enter graduate school if you're not adequately prepared in English and math, because those are core foundational, skill sets that are needed in graduate school if you're going to advance. And so, people really do have to prove themselves again. And I know people don't want to, and maybe the concern is more about the money than it is about proving themselves. But they need to go through a second vetting to go into graduate school, and that's just that.
Okay. So there's also this concern. I think it was okay. Let me get this. Yeah, it was one of the in passing anyway. You talk about it, but this current, or say electricity situation on campus, they are raising serious issue.
Mhm.
Over the last, say, one or a little close to. I mean, close to 2 months now. It's really be a difficult thing on campus.
Yeah, we had an unexpected problem with some of our older, bigger generators breaking down, and us having a hard time finding the parts for them, and having to go overseas to get parts for these old generators. And really, we're just going to keep having problems until we redo it and have our solar power. So the faster we can get that, the better. I mean, the students are making the case for me.
Yeah. So, Madam President, let me ask you this question. I've been hearing, people talk about this group insurance. Some continue to say it's really not doing good for them because you go to hospital, you have to pay almost more than half the money the insurance is charging. So they think it's not really anything good. I mean, some of them have, in fact, said it's just better to get rid of this group insurance thing, give back my money, and I can afford to go to hospital. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I you look at.
The way that insurance works is by creating a big pile of money and getting interest on it so that there's money to give to people to reduce their hospital bills, particularly in the case of catastrophes. Of course, when you need to go to the doctor for malaria and you got to pay a copay, it's inconvenient. Maybe you would like to have your money for that. But the day you get in a car accident and you need surgery, that's the day you really need the health insurance. So if you don't pay for it over time, it won't be there when you need to do the health insurance unless you're saving up your own money for that eventuality. So insurance all over the world works like that. It's if you want to pay nothing, then your insurance premiums have to be much higher. You can't get free doctor visits unless you pay more to the insurance companies. That's how they work. So, we're always working with insurance companies to get the lowest premiums we can and the lowest copays we can for the lowest price they will give. But there are limits on how low they can go. So one of the things I would tell this caller is that in a few months' time, we're getting ready to rebid insurance because the current insurance contract is ending, and we're going to rebid. We're going to put it out to bid so that different companies in Liberia can compete. And one of the things that I've made clear in the procurement instructions is that that whatever they offer has to feel good to our workers. It can't just be something on paper. They have to feel like they are being cared for in terms of health. So I want to see what our insurance companies who bid come up with in terms of making our workers feel genuinely cared for. That's important to me.
Indeed, I mean that's some, and one of the sticky thing that they always talk about. In fact, I too have experienced that is you have a whole listing of health centers and hospitals that this insurance covers. But sometimes you go to the hospital and tell you, no, we're not going to serve UL. You know, I don't know what the issue is, but
That's
I
what
mean,
every
it's been
insurance
something that everybody has been talking
has.
about.
Every insurance company has a list of companies that they work with. That's how it works. It's not, if you want every health provider in the country to be involved, then you have to have a single payer system run by the government. That's the only way you're going to get that, because insurance companies compete with each other to have different healthcare providers in their network. So if you want the whole country to be the network, then you need a government-based
No,
system.
no. So what I'm talking about. So for example, so we are dealing with Atifa.
Mhm,
I'm sorry to call that name, but we are dealing with Atifa,
mhm,
and so they gave us a list of hospitals that we are to go to.
mhm.
And when you get there, that hospital or say a certain hospital is telling you, no, we're not going to serve Atifa insurance for now, especially so when you are coming from the University of Liberia.
Well,
And
that
when you
happens.
sometimes you call the insurance officer and they tell you, oh, we have low issue, so go to the next hospital.
Right. That should not happen. That should be something that the company works out behind closed doors. It should not involve the patient. I know that they were doing that during the time that we had arrears with Activa. Thank God one of the things that our business finance office did was to bring all of our arrears with them up to date. All right. Quite a feat. But, the reality is no insurance company should disadvantage a sick worker or a sick employee at the moment when they're coming for care and say we don't cover them at that time. And we need to put some provision that prevents that, because that's not okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to take the last run of calls because I kept seeing my number blinking here. So I can so we already have past our time, but we can add additional 5 minutes to take a few calls provided they come 0777 277 288 0777 277 288 and be a part of it right here, Luke's FM. And the program is You Are President Are. The president of the University of Liberia, Dr. Lady Maparyan, is live on the line to address whatever concern you have. And like I said, we can give 5 minutes if you still want to be a part of it to call us on 0777 277 288 and how they say, let's go to the line. This caller, hello, how are you? Albert, welcome. Pattern lecturer, Albert Akwe. Yeah, so just be brief, yeah. Hmm. You teaching this semester, Albert? Are you teaching this semester? So there was this announcement recently for everybody. I mean, all adjunct faculty to or say part timer to submit their document. Did you submit your document? Okay. So once you did that, I know you're waiting for bear like the bear like to come. So, but President will speak to the issue. Yeah. Yeah, Madam President will speak to the issue. So call us on 0777 277 288 and be a part of it right here. The number is 0777 sorry, online viewers. Next Monday, we're going to have a number placed over there. I don't know why. Hello? Yeah? You low? Speak a bit louder, yeah? Yeah. But my police strange out. What's your name? Peter Morba. Where are you calling from? McDonald Street, Central Monrovia. Walker. Computer department. What's happening in there? Peter, you low? You, hello, Peter? You using any electronic device on your phone? Okay, I think you look better now. Go ahead. Yeah. What about the classroom? Yeah, you're having classes in the engineering building. Yeah. Mm. No computer lab. All of them supposed to have lab exercise attached. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Let me take the last call and then cross over to Dr. Maparyan to respond to your concerns. Thank you, Peter. All the way there from Central Monrovia. 077-277-288 is the number to call and be a part of it. Let's go back to the line. This caller. Hello. How you doing? Wh- Hello. Your name and what you? Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. So, sorry. You said the day what? No. Your second point is what I'm asking for. Your second point, I didn't get it clear. Hmm. Extension, extension in agriculture, master in extension. Huh. Okay. You took interest too. So so she just addressed that issue, but anyway, she will speak to it again. So you came from honor. Yeah, you came from honor graduate. Hello, hello. So the people say the honor graduate part anybody can come there. Graduate school, there are different places down there. Oh. Before you go there, you got to take entry. You got to take tests to qualify you to go there. All right. My man, when you open that place, anyway, the person will speak to that. I'm not the one who was going to say, thank you, thank you. Yeah. So thank you. So somebody is just banking on this line. So I can take this person. Yes, sorry, we got to take, all these concerns today. Somebody been knocking on this line. So if the person comes in, I will take the concern. But in the meantime, let me get back to the president. So the first concern here, Madam President, is a part timer, wants to know when they're gonna receive that money.
Okay, we're on the system now where you get half at midterm and half at the end. So the first payment should be soon. They might be waiting for me to come back sign the payroll. I don't know, but I know that we're equipped to pay part timers half as long as they have contracts now. They have to have signed contracts. If they don't, they won't get paid. But if they have signed contracts, they'll get paid at midterm and at the end.
Okay. Uh, so I hope you are. But was it Peter Mobile? I didn't. Sorry, I didn't get your name. But I hope you're monitoring. If you signed your contract, you will get your pay very soon. Let me take this last call. Hello. Yeah. Welcome, George. Fishery and aquaculture. Yeah. What's your concern? No library. Okay. All right. ID card. No library. No ID card. All right. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, George. All right. So I'm not going to take any more call. I have to get to the president to address these concerns. So Peter Mobile called from Central Monrovia. He has this concern about computer department here. Most of the time they go to classes and because they are using the engineering building. So while they're in class, somebody will come, one professor added from the engineering side, and it will come to say, hey, look, I have to have my class, and it will like put it out. That's the first concern. The second one is no lab at all. There's no lab for cybersecurity courses that they're doing.
Yeah, computer science lab is a huge problem at UL, and I've just been talking lately with some of my cabinet members about setting up a computer science lab. Really, computer science is one of the most pivotal departments for any higher ed institution today. And just fresh off this trip from Ethiopia, where the focus was AI and how to bring AI into all of society, we have to get our computer science department where it needs to be. And so expect me to put some focus on that after our return.
Mm. All right. This thing about the space, you want to speak to it?
Can
Rooms?
the question about space is what?
The same computer science department, they don't have any room of their own. They're
Yeah.
using, yeah, they are using engineering building. And so most times they go to class, somebody will come and put it out.
Well, let's hope that when we build our new innovation center, that there will be some room in there for the computer science department and the AI department and all of those. That's a ways away, but we have a MOU with UNDP to build such a center. So I'm going to keep that in mind. But I like to remind people that this campus was built for a student body of a few thousand people, and we have almost 30,000 people. So space is going to be a problem. Teachers is going to be a problem. Chairs is going to be a problem until we get things reconciled and make our campus suitable for the amount of students that we have. I'm sorry these problems exist, but as I like to say often, it's a math problem. And, I'm here to figure out solutions, but I don't want people to have a sense of entitlement that this campus is built to serve the size of student body that we have right now, because it wasn't. We've adapted as best we can, but there's a lot more adaptations we still need to make. And so I appreciate that people share with me their issues so that I can in turn solve them.
Okay. So Vesely is a graduate. He raised the same concern about, a graduate from a undergraduate school or say program, but going to do masters here at the C University, you have to take entrance also. Then he said, "Are you aware that you are supposed to be offering agriculture extension master?" So he's saying he registered to do the entrance, but it is not on the platform.
Okay, this is the first time hearing about that, so I'll have to check that out.
All right, and there's also this concern about uh, no library at the fishery, department here, and also there's no ID card.
Okay, ID cards, as I mentioned earlier, are coming online as soon as we get the materials that we need to make the cards. As far as the fisheries having its own library, I don't think that we're necessarily in the business of putting libraries in every single department. But what we are doing that is actually kind of exciting news is that we are purchasing a major online library system that will allow students to act and faculty, actually, students, faculty, and staff to access a wide variety of materials in online format from any device, whether computers, smartphones, etc. And it was just today that I got the message that we've paid the money for the system. And so, of course, it has to be installed and all of that. But we're getting ready to rapidly expand our digital library access, and that should solve problems for a lot of people.
Madam President, it's been a very wonderful time with you. Anything final you want to say before we let you go?
It's been great to have so many callers today. You know, there have been some weeks we don't get any calls. So I'm excited. I feel
Yeah.
like people are back engaged. This is really great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. See you again next Monday.
See you, I hope. All right. All right.
Yeah. Okay, she's the president of the University of Liberia, Professor Dr. Lady Maparyan, and we've just been talking all about the nation's flagship university. My name is Alfonso. We're back here next Monday at 5 minutes past 4. Until that time, please keep safe. Bye bye. You can see nothing from here.